Bounty Cup, let's go! And game number 1, the cats against names are overrated, everybody. We are on Battlefield of Eternity, and this is the first round of Group B. Over on the left side, we got the cats with Drachia on Varian, Maitri on Chromie, we got Nano, actually Taichessa on the account Nano. Nano has several accounts, Taichessa is oftentimes using some of them, so yeah, this is not the real Nano, this is actually Taichessa, even though the real Nano played in the past a lot with the cats. Very confusing, but I'll point it out whenever I can. Hereth on Muradin, Captain Rex on Lucio, and over on the right side we got the Dark Wolf with ETC. Coffee on Reyna on level 1 with the Exterminator, Madron on Imperius, Drygoch on Hogga, and Megiblitz is playing Malfurion. Side lane Varian with a High King's Quest. You all know what that means. We're gonna get Twin Blades, baby! Yep, the cats going up against an opponent that is definitely the underdog in this particular series. Shout out to Names Are Overrated though for participating here. They also replaced the team that was initially locked in. Oh, that could potentially get the first blood. Not quite. But yeah, so Names Are Overrated replaced another team that initially signed up but couldn't make it. So big shout out to them for being so flexible that they could quickly jump in and take the slot. And also welcome to the tournament here. Always nice to see some teams that know from the start that they're going to be the underdog heading into this when they're appearing here. I mean, we had Names Are Overrated obviously in other contexts already when we're talking about Heroes Lounge, for example. But right now in our series against a team like the Cats, they are clearly the underdog. And for the Cats, that means that they said, you know what, we're going up against an opponent that we should be able to beat. How about we're trying to complete some bounties here? Make that little risk-reward calculation for ourselves and take the handicap. So they are going for Twin Blade Variant. I'm gonna try and lock in a few bounty points for themselves. On the other hand, Names Are Overrated in this case. They are fully putting their hopes into Jimmy when it comes to the Immortal race and a triple front line to boot. So they're not going for any bounties, they just want to try and take the W here. But it starts off with Jimmy falling. So Reyna is down, he gets eliminated, the first one to fall, as the teams are slowly starting to focus on some of the mercenary camps over here. Now, top side. Well, at this point, we have maybe a kill against Varian. Drachia is not in a good spot. He's very much alone. I would have loved for Hogga to at least say hello, but there's the connect, and that's the end of Varian. If he would have gone taunt, he would have of course survived here. 100%. It's the Twin Blade Variant, you know, that makes it. Like, the second you even think about picking Twin Blade, you're already taking a mental setback, a mental disadvantage. It just immediately leads to you feeding and getting destroyed. That's exactly what happened there. So, yeah, that's Twin Blades in action, but Variant already died once, even before he picked it. That's just how it works. Now, we got the Andoral Anomaly here for Chromie. We have also the first Immortal about to appear, with the teams now making them play for the Shaman camps, of course. Top side now, Fight of Flight, by the way, for Jimmy. Top side, though, we got our 1v1, and Hogga is winning this pretty handily. Varian obviously not the best side laner when we're talking about that interplay, and he just doesn't hold a candle to what Hogga is bringing. So Hogga wins that lane with ease. The blue team is rotating topside, trying to deal with that, and Hogga gets out. Hogga escapes. Lucio was a little bit low there for just a second, and Jimmy is immediately on the job. Jimmy is immediately in and is just taking down the Immortal. Exterminator obviously amazing, particularly in the early game where it really hits hard, and other heroes that normally do well against the Immortal still have to scale a bit. When you think about, for example, Vala, right? For Vala you need your level 7. With Jimmy though, he comes in and he immediately packs a massive punch and tries to take this on quickly. So it should be a victory on the first Immortal for the red team if they're really diligent about this and commit, and so far it looks exactly like that's what they're going to do here. Lucio though is keeping them away from the Immortal, at least for the time being, but it's taken, and Names are... Oh no, they lose ETC. Names Are Overrated, get the Immortal, but ETC dies. Now the good news is that ETC obviously is going to be back in just a couple of seconds. They should still be able to push this a bit. It's still a setback when you now lose a hero at that point in time. There's also the wall at the bot lane that has fallen. And the blue team is just trying to buy themselves a little bit more time. They're trying to make sure that the push is more or less defeated before the red team even arrives. Jimmy, yeah, getting attacked there, missing the penetrating round. Got some good damage out against Muradin, but still not enough to really have a big impact. And, well, that's the first Immortal gone with only one tower eliminated. That is not a whole lot. It's not really a whole lot that you are able to capitalize on here, so bit unfortunate. Well, as they're trying to make their play for Muradin, seems like ETC is again in a bit of trouble. Top side, still that play between Hogger and Varian. And Hogger so far is continuing to just win that lane. I mean, he has that fort already under siege a little bit, so that definitely helps him. Started to take down some of the hit points there. Structurally, that actually puts the red team in a better position than their opponents, despite the fact that, as mentioned before, they haven't really been able to do a lot with the Immortal itself. But here comes the next play for Muradin, who buys them a lot of time, and Jimmy eats a lot of that Chromie damage. My try is low. Hogger wants to come in for some fun. Gets the Storm Bolt straight to the face though, but they're still able to connect the lunge from Imperius, and that's a double kill. Chromie is gone. Muradin is eliminated too. Nicely done. And that is 3 kills to 2 now. 4 names are overrated. So the early game, not too bad for them. The Cats, they are struggling a bit here. They're now behind in experience. They are taking more damage on their structures. So this could get a bit dicey. The experience lead is not that big though. It's not like level 10 is going to kick in for the red team and they're going to have a full level to play around with. But we'll see who is able to get the next Immortal, the second objective of the game. This oddly works, by the way. I don't know why, but Imperius on the Ducky is actually great. Tries the lunge, connects it with 2, and Chromie low, but they cannot get the kill, can they? Lucio and Chromie both able to survive here. Oh god, I wish they would have chased this a little bit further. They're trying to go for Muradin. He actually gets stopped for a second. Maybe they can now follow up on it. And yep, there's the lunge and Muradin is toast. There's a lot going on currently for names are overrated. First of all, they're pushing for the fort at the top, which is fantastic. Hyperion gets dropped over the wall to get more damage in. And then with level 10 abilities that they just locked in now, they are sieging up at the opponent's Immortal while they are defending their own. They lost the halftime show, but they should be able to do a lot of damage with this. Chromie is defending at the top side, but the fort is nearly obliterated there. And names are overrated, have a huge opportunity here. Jimmy is already fully uncontested as he's making his play. There's the big party against 3 of them. They get 1 kill against Lucio. They're trying for Varian. Jimmy wasn't with him at the time because he was still sitting at the Immortal and dishing out the damage there. But the kill against Lucio should really help them. So they're pushing for the objective again, as Varian is at the bottom of the map, dealing with Imperius at this point in time. The Cats desperately looking for level 10 abilities, but I would be shocked. I would be absolutely shocked if they didn't lose the objective here. Haymaker comes in for Muradin. They're trying to go for some isolation plays against the opponent. And Dracula, with one of the quests already completed on level 1, is now in the meantime just holding that bot lane. This is also where the Immortal is going to appear. Up at the top, Hogger has taken position again on the solo lane, and he will destroy that topside fort. I would honestly like more for him to come down and help the team out on a 5 versus 5. That top lane would have fallen either way, but it seems like he's going to try and push us a bit further to try and go for the keep. So the 4-man has to be a bit careful, but this should still do some significant damage on the fort. And there is a camp at the top that is going to help Hogger. So Varian is now moving towards the top in an attempt to defend. But, yeah, the bottom fort has taken some damage. Hogger sitting tight, and now Varian just whacking away. Or trying to, but won't be able to close that gap too quickly. Well, maybe no. Even with Lucian overload hitting him, that's not good. Down at the bottom of the map, the Muradin delivery system. Jimmy with the final hit. Nicely done by Madron. That's 6 kills to 2 now. I mean, maybe TWINBLADES variant is so big of a handicap that you just can't overcome it. Imperius with the top damage now on 23,000. We have 24,000 for Chromie, so the 2 of them have pretty similar numbers. Jimmy on at 15k, but what an arrow from Hanzo. They take Hogger out and start to close that gap in experience again. Red team still eager to get at least the camp at the bottom of the map. There's only 3 heroes for the blue team, so they should be able to pull this one off. ETC tries to slide. That would have been a nice mosh pit, if not for Chromie shutting that down. The fight not over yet, and ETC falls. ETC is gone, they go for Malfurion, and that's him eliminated too. Haymaker used against Madron as they're trying to get the entire team. They follow up on Reyna and go for Imperious. Last but not least, brutal play by the Cats, and names are overrated. They are now in a lot of trouble. That hurt them a lot. Not only did it catapult the blue team forward in experience, it also allows them, with a huge amount of map control that they currently enjoy, to straight up go for the bot side forward. Varian is just cosplaying Illidan when he goes Twin Blades, honestly. He's just sitting there and he is just going with his attacks and trying to chip away at the opponent's hit points. Now that we finally have the red team back up, they're also in possession of the level 13 talents, so both of them are even talents again. But there is a lot of momentum that has changed in favor of the Cats. Haymaker again, Hoarder pulled as we have Hogger jumping in and committing to this. But the halftime show is already over. And the position on the Immortal is not too bad either, so now we're going for potentially Immortal number 1 on the blue team side. At least so far, it's looking pretty good. Coffee on Jimmy is on the right side, trying to get them at least some hit points off the Immortal. But here comes the connect against Lucio into the mosh pit, and Lucio is gone. Nice, they should be able to get a second kill here as well. They go for Drak here, and they drop him. Completes his quest, but he's still gone. And that delivery from Imperious into the mosh pit of ETC was absolutely fantastic. So they get the double kill, they lose 1. They are still extremely low on their Immortal. So even with Jimmy now trying to limit the damage, with Hanzo and Chromie on the other side, there's absolutely no saving this. So the Immortal is claimed by the Cats. The Cats get the Immortal, and the globes get picked up by their opponents. We have now 30,000 damage for Imperious, 35,000 damage for Hanzo and for Chromie. The defense at the top will be set up here, but it is deadly even now. 8 kills to 8, and level 14 versus level 14. So, as we have the Immortal push in, Hogger is still at the bottom of the map. Drake coming in from the side here, trying to make a bit of a play. Maybe also just making sure that nobody... He would love to flank in here and get into that backline, especially now that the Immortal is already on the board. So ETC is preventing that the entire time from happening, but that would be the perfect angle for Varian to make an engage and really contribute here. Waiting also then, of course, for Muradin to jump in and load all this up with the Stormbolt. But after the fort is destroyed, the blue team goes down to the bottom of the map, and the Immortal is still doing a bit of damage, but nothing noteworthy. Only chunking one of the towers down to 50% of its HP. But well, down to the bottom of the map, we have the next camp about to be claimed. Jimmy is at this point with 13 going for Give Me More, and we got the Pathetic Mortals for Imperious. Some of the talent names are always awesome. Needle Peasants, Pathetic Mortals. I like it. Yeah. Level 16 is ready. We got the Shifting Sands in, and we're also getting the Dwarf launch for Muradin. Up the frequency for Lucio. And the next objective is gonna kick in soon, TM. For now, I gotta say, names are overrated. Is doing a great job here. I had them really packed as the total underdog for the series going up against the Cats, but they're not only holding their own, they're doing a great job on this. So big shout out to them. Very nicely played. We now have all the way at the top left the camp, maybe taking a little bit early here, but they can play around this, and obviously with the fort being this low, the team around Madron and Coffee down here, they're going straight up for a kill, take down the fort, and that is now both teams with all their forts gone, no fountains anymore towards the middle. And they're thinking about stealing the camp, and then they're like, well, maybe not. Maybe let's not get too greedy here. And I honestly, I like it. Not quite worth going for a full end on this one. So they fall back, let this slide for now. Quick look, by the way, also at Variance damage is currently at 17,000. roughly on the numbers that Hogger has. Jimmy obviously not really that high either with the 23,000 that he has, but a lot of this is explained by him essentially focusing on the Immortal every single time that an objective is up. So he's not participating in a team fight as much as other heroes do, at least not when it comes to the objective battles. Malfurion is the one with the least damage, under 10k. Oh, Jimmy! Yeah, somebody's low, but he makes it out. Jimmy is actually able to escape. And they use Variant for the only thing that he's good for. He's attacking the Immortal. He's like, dude, you're useless in the fight anyways with Twin Blades. How about you go for the Immortal and take him on? That's a little bit more your size. So, yeah, they go for that. Doesn't even join the fight here initially. Instead, we now have the battle raging on as they made a quick approach with the Khaldor pulled, and then we're trying to get a kill against Lucio. That didn't work out. On the other hand, Imperius extremely low and nearly down here, needs more than just a few heals, as the red team is trying to go for the Immortal as well. And Varian is back up on the objective. It's actually hilarious to me that he is essentially reduced to a worse Artanis, and that in and of itself is already funny. Big arrow, nicely done, hitting with 3, and they get a double kill immediately just to follow it up on ETC for kill number 3. Halftime show has already been won, and now they're back on it. But yeah, essentially Varian on Battlefield of Eternity with Twin Blades is nothing else but a melee hero that you're setting up on the Immortal every single time that he spawns. So that's what they're doing right now. And they get it with a pretty big shield. That is bad news for Names Are Overrated. The game until this fight was actually going fairly alright for them. Pretty even with the opponent. Because they were matching them in essentially every single number here. Now on the other hand, that backfired, so now Hogger is gone. That leaves only Imperius. Some of the heroes will be back in a few seconds, granted, but the wall is already getting destroyed. That's level 19.5 in the hands of the Cats, and this is going to hit the red team hard. I mean, really hard. This one is gonna... honestly, this might even be game. If they can kill more heroes, keep in mind, this is a 4 versus 5, and they're going to hit level 20 in a moment. So they have a huge opportunity here to not only take the keep out, but maybe even go for the core directly if they are able to pick up a couple of kills. The keep is already gone, and we will see with the next minion wave or so a level 20 for them. 7 seconds for Hogger to be back. They're trying to make a play now for ETC. Mosh pit attempt interrupted. Also Imperius in trouble, and he gets out. The shield is falling, the core will fall soon too. Hit points are dropping, and there's the level 20 talents. They're trying to take the Immortal down. ETC again with the Mosh, gets interrupted and falls. Big arrow again from Hanson. They're following it up with 1, 2, 3 kills. It's a quad kill. Only Jimmy is alive, and I'm not so sure that he's going to survive for long. It's a 5-man team wipe. And that's going to be the end of game number 1 as the Cats take the lead in Group B against Names Are Overrated. Nicely done, GG, and well played.
Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV.
So, map number 2, we are on Garden of Terror. The Cats already completing the Twin Blade bounty. And now, on the second map, they are going for another bounty from the looks of it. At least we now have Tychessa for the blue team on Zagara. So, this could very well be a Nidus bounty for them. Maitri on Leoric, we're getting Drakir on Gul'dan. Erath is on Garrosh, and Captain Rex is playing Anduin. As over on the right side, no bounty attempt for Names Are Overrated. They're trying to come back into the series and force game number 3 with the Dark Wolf on Johanna. We got Coffee on Cassia, McGiblets on Brightwing, Dragor on Blaze, and Madron on Jaina. Let's go. I, by the way, felt a little bit weird right now, now that I see Coffee here. Well, actually, wait a second, we might have an early kill. Oh, ho, ho, he laubert. Coffee just laubert. But yeah, now that I see Coffee's nickname, YouTube has sent me on another very weird rabbit hole, a coffee rabbit hole the other day. I didn't know how many channels were on YouTube that were dedicated to coffee. Just never crossed my mind. I didn't think that there were none, but I never looked into it. But now, for some reason, I went down a bit of a coffee rabbit hole. I like coffee, but I actually have a coffee grinding machine thingy like an Elongi, and I feel like an absolute coffee scrub now, where I found out that there's like HV60 drip coffee, and that there's certain ways of how you pour the water into the thing so that it gets the perfect cup and the perfect taste. And I'm just sitting there pressing 2 buttons every morning in order to get my cup of coffee, and I'm thinking, okay, apparently either I'm missing out here or this is a little bit too elitist. Like, I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I am very much tempted to get myself one of these drip thingies now and try that and see if I really can taste the difference. I have a feeling, though, that I won't. This is a general thing. There's a couple of things where if you give me the expensive variation or the quality one, I won't feel a difference. Whiskey is one of those. I would love to be a whiskey connoisseur that just sits there and is like, oh my god, this whiskey is from here and there and this old, and oh my god, the flavor. But every single time that one of my friends comes along with a pretty decent bottle of whiskey on a wedding or something else, I'm just sitting there with my whiskey and I'm thinking like, can somebody get me a Coke so I can mix it? And yeah, it's totally wasted on me. A little bit different when we're talking about rum, but I have the feeling that with coffee, after you reach a certain threshold, it's the same for me. Talking about thresholds, it seems like the blue team went a little bit deep on this one. They nearly lost Anduin, but good job on Garrosh for the save here. I mean, what can you expect from a hero that rides a money pick into the battle? The contrast between the skin and tint of Garrosh and then the money pick itself and the color chosen here is already fantastic. It catches the eye. It's a contrast that is absolutely delicious, particularly in front of the background that is Garden of Terror, and it just shows an absolute skin and tint connoisseur, which is what Hireth clearly represents here. Fantastic, 10 out of 10, Wood fanboy again. So, with Garrosh making sick plays and saving Anduin and a few others, the team was able to take the wall out at the bottom of the map. And yeah, maybe even get another kill. Oh, well, just as I thought, he might be able to get another hold of Cassia and lead her to certain death. They are being pushed back once again. So it's 1 kill. That's all that we got thus far. We still have, with Gul'dan, now also Bell Flame build with Pursuit of Flames here on level 1. We have obviously Indomitable for Garrosh, and Zagara hasn't really gone for a full-on push build that we've seen sometimes with the Nidus approach, which I obviously at this point just assume is going to happen at level 10. So we're not having Infest on level 1 or anything along those lines. We still get Corpse Feeders here, and on level 7 then the synergy with Bile Drop. Down at the bottom of the map, while the red team is trying to get a bit of a foothold in the game, we still have a push for the fort. There's 1 seed up, and the blue team hasn't really made any plays yet to move in for it and try and take it. But down here, yeah, the aggression continues, and they already have this one down to, I don't know, 63% of its hit points. With the Zagara pushing at the top against Cassia, who is also starting to lose the lane a little bit. They're trying to go for Leo here and nearly take my try out, who's still able to walk away from all of this. But down at the bottom of the map and up at the top, the red team is certainly starting to struggle slightly. So, yeah, this one is losing more and more HP as we speak. And the teams are just roaming in for a few additional mercenary camps, with the blue team showing absolutely zero interest to go for the first C. They're going to delay this and be pretty happy about that too from the looks of it. And while all of this plays out, the bot lane gets pushed again. And Blaze is retreating. Blaze is just sitting there with full mana, by the way, and just saying like, yep, I can handle this. So he moves back out, and that means that Gul'dan is most likely going to take that fort out now. If not he himself, then probably with the minion wave that he now brings in. The red team is attempting to respond at the top lane by taking some structures out too, but they're losing too much. So this is just on a macro level already huge W for the blue team. And this oftentimes just shows also the experience from teams in that environment. The rotations are just much cleaner, what we're seeing now from the Cats, and they are fully capitalizing on the way that they're splitting their forces onto the lanes. Now the seed has also been picked up, so Gul'dan has gone through all of that. They have even a bit of a latent experience, and passive experience increase will just make this an even bigger deal as the game continues. But with that being said, we now have in the middle this attack coming in. Top side, same problem. I mean, up at the top, they're now going in for the next move. And they're going to try and take out the top side fort as well. They have level 10 abilities, and as expected, we're getting Nidus. So Zagara is going to try and make a lot of moves to that. Garrosh with another setup, and they get Jaina. The Ice Queen is gone. They save Zagara, but I guess... no, he actually makes it. Garrosh on his way back out, and a Nidus used to block that. Okay, that's a new one. Haven't seen that yet. Andon actually makes it, and the red team drops a bit low here. But I haven't seen a Nidus block, so that was a nice little attempt by Taichesa. So they're getting the Nidus networks out. Zagara is just simply using that to recover all of her hit points here. So, yeah, easy peasy, no problem, and can just continue the top lane pressure. It's one of the cool things about a Nidus that you just, when you have one, even at a fort, you can always just like retreat, recharge, and go back in. So as long as you still have some fallback options and maybe some towers and forts to protect you, it's a really nice tool to have. Interrupt, not on point. Therefore we now have one seat on each side, but the pressure is still mounting up at the top. And over here, with Bunker now being used, Blaze is moving back out, so that's a bit of a cooldown miss for Blaze, or a big win for Leoric, depending on how you look at it. They're pushing at the bottom of the map. Ooh, and the Fruit Fly goes down. Brightwing gets eliminated. Now that's bad news for the top lane. That was a bit stable for a while, but now that Brightwing is gone and they don't have a healer, they have to really think what they want to defend, because this is going to get a bit tricky. You have down at the bottom of the map, Leoric. In the middle sits Gul'dan and wants Blaze to rotate back down so that he can control the mid lane. And then you have the aggression up at the top. So this is starting to really hurt. Names are overrated. The team in red is losing on essentially all lanes right now. There's a big push from Leo. At the top, they are still holding their own now that Brightwing teleported back in. But this also means that there's nobody defending the middle for now. So that's another wall fully destroyed from Gul'dan. And he's going to continue the same play right at the fort. Now, this could get more than a bit dangerous, because this is a keep wall that is now falling, and there's a level 13 talent advantage for the Cats as well. Not a lot of kills, 3 kills to 0, mostly at the top lane. Not a lot of hero damage there too, but Zagara is sitting at 20,000, so she's the top damage for now. Has, by the way, not placed a Nidus network anywhere. We just pushed the entire time through the top. That's all that they're doing here. And it's a 4-man that's reacting to it. So it's a 3 versus 4 the entire time, and names are overrated, having some real trouble pushing through this. Now that Gul'dan comes in, he drops the Horrify. They're trying to drop Jojo. That's a kill. That needs to be a kill. And it is a kill. They're dropping Jojo, and this is going to be a bit of a disaster. They're going to get everybody here. They're going for Brightwing. They're going for Cassia. They're all going to fall. I don't see a single one of them surviving. That flank was way too rough. 5 versus 4 as they flanked in for his. Blaze is all alone at the bot lane and is just a sad side laner because he knows that this is not going their way. It's 7 kills to 0. That topside fort is about to fall. So, yep, that's another seed spawning. And this will be the 3rd one for the Cats, barring any disaster on the side of the blue team. So right now we might have even talents for the 2 teams, but 2 forts are lost. The one in the middle is getting attacked. Zagara, now that she's finally moving away from the top lane, will most likely also start to drop some additional Nidus networks so that she can start moving around and control these lanes even more. But you look at the experience gap alone, for example, and you already see them at the 2 level. Stats massively increased because of that, and the talent advantage that they will soon claim too, playing a big role here. The Entomb to block their path. Brightwing jumps out, but the Dark Wolf turns into the Dead Wolf. Jaina is also gone. Apparently they have some blonde phobia over there on the side of the Cats because they're taking everyone out. The 2 blondies are already gone. They're trying to go for Cassia. Horrify used again. Blaze also in trouble. He might be getting out, and does, but the team is just generally in a state of retreat. They're all just desperately trying to get away, try to survive, try to make a few moves there, and yeah, it's difficult. So, fort gets destroyed in the middle. At the top, we now have Nano just rotating back towards the... Well, actually, he's not rotating anywhere. He has only one knight is in the middle, unless he uses that one. He's just going to stay at the top lane and push. I suppose... Okay, I have him already in the middle. Also, it's not Nano. It's always really confusing. Again, there's like... Nano is actually playing in this tournament, but he's playing for Team Copium, whereas this account is used by Taishesa. So, this is a bit annoying, but, well, it is what it is. So, sorry for the confusion. It's not made any easier by the fact that the real Nano played in the past quite a lot with the cats. So, yeah. But, again, as is, we now have, with 9 kills to 0, the first objective of the game. And it's gonna hurt. All of the forts are gone already. In the middle, Zagara is now pushing. We have all the way up at the top the next playmate here. So they are now trying to come in for coffee again. Well, they're going for Blaze. Blaze still able to jump out. Gets the stun. Can they get a kill? No! I thought maybe they were able to take Gul'dan out, but didn't work. Blessed shield. Nice. Maybe now they go for Leo. They go for... Yes, for Garrosh, but they take Leoki down. So, finally a point on the board for names are overrated. They're closing in on level 16. This would be pretty good for the defense that they're attempting to set up against the opponent's team. It's a 4 versus 4 after all right now. But the top keep is in trouble. The one in the middle will fall to Zagara, and then they can still rotate down to the bottom of the map in an attempt to take the last one out. There's not a single fort that has been dropped by names are overrated yet. So that would be catapults on every lane, relentlessly marching towards the core if they're not able to stop this and turn things around quickly. We have now 38,000 damage for Gul'dan, 37,000 for Cassia. The fight still continues. Core is a little bit low on shield already, but they're trying to get kills. There's the Entomb against 2, and Zagara with the damage, but the ice block from Jaina for now. Cassia with the DPS up against Garrosh. The blue team just pushing the entire time. They want to crack that nut right now. Make sure that they're dropping names are overrated. Just a kill or two would already help them, but it's a kill for a kill as we have Blaze and Anduin die. Jojo is also dead though. Jojo is also down, so that's a 2-for-1 trade. Maybe they're able to push in on this after all, but Leoric falls and now it's a 3 versus 3. The hate against the blonde-haired heroes on the red team side makes a lot more sense to me right now. I finally solved it. The reason is Anduin is the problem. I mean, he always is, but even more so in this game than in any other. If you look at Anduin, Anduin was on the blue team side, and he was just like, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the prettiest in the land, or whatever they say. And he was basically very quickly confronted with the reality that both Jaina and Jojo just have a much better hair than he does. So he got jealous. And then he just, he just went in, and his entire team, he made them angry. He just basically went full on rage mode and said like, guys, if we don't kill them, then I'm not going to heal you anymore. And that's the reason why they're going for Jojo and Jaina the entire time. Because Anduin has hair envy. Absolutely. I mean, I should have known, honestly, right from the get-go, but it took me a little bit longer to figure it out, so my apologies for that. But that's just the type of person Anduin is. I don't know what to tell you. The seed goes to the red team. So the position, I mean, again, blue team didn't march in too early. They didn't have level 20. They initially wanted to soak it, and by the time that they finally could make their way over, it was a bit too late. But now that we have Storm Talons, the pressure, of course, is still just mounting up. You have the top lane push with mercenary camps down at the bottom of the map. A similar picture is unfolding as we have the aura moving in from the bruiser camp. And yeah, Leoki dies. It's actually the 3rd time right now. Reports clearly incoming, but names are overrated. They're fighting a bit of a losing battle. They need to win a big team fight. It's the only chance that they have. Get that seed, get that turn in, win a team fight, and take at least the forts out, or you're just going to be toast. They don't have a real global. They have only Brightwing, and that's not enough to stop the pressure from the lanes that are moving in there. But here comes the aggression. They need these attacks, and Leo is gone. So that's a 5 versus 4 now. They come in with Blaze. He's a bit low. They're chasing also at the top, but Brightwing falls, and at least they get the counter kill against Gul'dan. So Gul'dan is now dropped. Captain Rax is again on the run, and there is a massive amount of minions and also catapults coming at the top lane. But the blue team, yeah, they will just keep the pressure up as much as they can. Whereas for names are overrated, at least they're closing in on level 20 talent. Maybe that makes these fights a bit easier for them. They won the last one already. At least they won the trade here. But they didn't have Storm Talents, and no! They lose Jojo just before they get their level 20. Oh boy, that pretty much sucks for them. And now we have catapults marching towards the core again. A third one is coming through the top lane. The keep at the bottom of the map is about to get dropped too. I think this is pretty much the last nail in the coffin. There is too much pressure now. We are 15 minutes into the game. As time keeps ticking, catapults will become stronger and stronger. And there is no real counter pressure against them. Zagara also with the Nidus network down at the bottom of the map now. So she's going to be more annoying to deal with as the game continues too. Just imagine at any point names are overrated, getting a little bit of momentum to push through a lane. What we would see immediately is Zagara just jumping on a Nidus network if it's not discovered. Right-wing thankfully has just discovered the one at the bottom right. And would still then try to take that out. Leo might actually... No, he's not dying again. The camp is taken. Quest completed for Anduin. And now the big question, can names are overrated finally set up a bit of a comeback here? I mean, they're gonna try, but they have to hurry. If they don't hurry this up quickly, then they're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So, in comes the kill on Leo again, who's at this point just an ability and cooldown sponge. He's always the one that just beats most of the damage. We have 4 deaths on him. It's more than 50% of all deaths in total that we're seeing for the blue team. Next kill is coming in. Guys, look at that core on the minimap. There are so many catapults marching over. And Cassia has just fallen. So names are overrated. Again, trying to retreat. They're trying to get to their core too. But they're being chased relentlessly by the cats. They're going in for Jojo. That's the end of her. Joanna's eliminated. The core is already losing hit points. And now it's just a matter of seconds until game number 2 is over. There is no recovering from this anymore. It's a 5 versus 4 on the map. Now that Leoric has respawned, they're taking the rest down. That's Blaze eliminated. They kill Jojo, and it's a 5-man team wipe. That finishes off map number 2 in this best of 3 series. Names are overrated, drops down into the losers bracket, and the cats move on to the next round of the winner bracket here in Group B of the Murky Cup, and they complete the Zagara Nidus bounty. GG, well played.